Lieutenant Maya Chen stared out the small window of her shuttle. The massive space station grew larger by the minute. Her heart beat fast, but her face stayed calm. The fate of all humans on Earth now rested on her shoulders. 3 months ago, the lizard-like aliens called Draconians had made contact with Earth. They ruled most of the galaxy with their mighty empire. The Draconians saw humans as weak mammals, hardly worth their time. But Earth sat on an important space route they wanted badly. Instead of attacking Earth right away, the Draconians offered what they called a generous opportunity. Earth could send one person to compete for a seat on their lesser council. If the human won, Earth would become a protected planet with some freedom. If the human lost, Earth would belong to the Draconians, and all humans would become workers for the lizard empire. "This is just a show," the head Draconian named Zexcaltor had said during the first message to Earth. His scales were black as night, with eyes that shined like gold coins. "No mammal has ever earned a council seat in our 10,000 years of rule. Your kind lacks the cold thinking and superior mind needed for leadership." Earth's leaders argued for weeks about who to send. They tested soldiers, politicians, and scientists. In the end, they chose Maya Chen, not because she was the strongest or smartest, but because she understood the Draconians better than anyone else on Earth. As a xenolinguist, she had spent years studying their language and customs from their space broadcasts. Maya watched through the window as Draconian warships floated nearby. Each one could destroy an entire city on Earth. She carried only a small computer tablet with information about human history and science. No weapons, no special tools, just her mind against an empire of cold-blooded lizards who had ruled the stars since humans were still living in caves. The shuttle docked with a soft bump. Maya took a deep breath of Earth air one last time. The door opened with a hiss, letting in the hot, dry air of the Draconian station. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "Adapt, survive, win." She stepped through the doorway, her black uniform neat and proper. 27 other aliens from different worlds were also competing for just 5 open seats. Most were different types of reptiles. A few had feathers like birds. One seemed made of living crystal. All of them turned to look at the human who dared to think she belonged among them. Maya lifted her chin and walked forward. The competition that would decide Earth's future was about to begin. Maya stepped onto the station floor. The air hit her like a desert wind, hot and dry. Her throat felt tight with each breath. Around her stood dozens of tall lizard beings, their scales shining under the bright lights. Some had green skin, others were brown or black. All had eyes, with straight up and down slits that watched her every move. "The mammal representative has arrived," announced a Draconian with bright green scales. He didn't try to hide the disgust in his voice, though it appears to be leaking already. Maya noticed drops of sweat running down her face. The lizard aliens laughed at this, thinking her weak. They didn't understand that sweating was how humans stayed cool. To them, it looked like a flaw. Standing tall, Maya spoke in perfect Draconian language. Her throat worked hard to make the clicks and hisses of their speech. "I am Lieutenant Maya Chen of Earth. I am ready to earn humanity's seat on the Lesser Council." The laughter stopped at once. A huge Draconian with black scales and gold-flecked eyes stepped forward. This was High Executor Zexcaltor, the leader she had seen in the messages to Earth. "It speaks our noble tongue," he said with narrow eyes. "Perhaps it will provide more fun than expected before it fails." 2 guards led Maya to her room. It was a simple space with a heated stone slab instead of a bed. The air was even hotter here, like being inside a sauna. As soon as the door closed, Maya turned on her cooling suit. Earth scientists had made it just for this mission. On her tablet, Maya checked the competition schedule. The first test would begin in 6 hours. The trials of cold logic. This would test how well she could make decisions without letting emotions get in the way. The Draconians believed mammals like humans were too emotional to think clearly. "They have the advantage here," Maya whispered to herself as she studied Draconian thinking patterns. She had trained for months for this moment. What the lizard aliens didn't know was that humans had been watching their broadcasts for years. Earth had learned much about how draconians thought and acted. While they saw only weakness in human emotions, Maya saw something they couldn't understand: the power of human adaptability. She looked out the small window at the stars. Somewhere, out there was Earth, waiting to hear if it would remain free. Maya took a drink of water and got back to her studies. The lizards thought this competition was just for show. They expected her to fail. Maya planned to surprise them all. The trials of cold logic. Maya entered a huge round room filled with hundreds of draconians watching from high seats. In the center stood 28 crystal pods, one for each contestant. The air buzzed with excitement as the lizard aliens waited to see the human fail. Mammals rely on simple emotions in their small brains, the testmaster explained to the crowd. Watch as the human becomes confused when faced with true logical problems. Maya took her place in a pod made for a lizard body. The crystal machine clamped painfully onto her head. Suddenly, her mind filled with the first test. A colony ship is failing. You can save 100 of the 1,000 people on board. The ship's computer has ranked each person by their value to the colony. Do you, A, save the top 100 ranked people? B, save a mix of different types of people to keep genetic variety? C, hold a random drawing for fairness? Maya saw the trap right away. The draconians would pick option A, cold efficiency. They thought humans would choose C because of emotional weakness. Instead, Maya picked B and explained, best chance for colony survival needs both special skills and genetic variety to adapt to unknown planets. Test after test appeared, each trying to force a choice between cold efficiency and emotional thinking. What the lizards didn't understand was that human thinking had evolved to use emotions as extra information, not as a weakness, but as a strength. By the 5th hour, many lizard contestants showed signs of getting tired. Their decisions became more rigid as time went on. But Maya was ready for this. Humans had evolved as hunters who could keep going for hours. Where lizard thinking worked best in short bursts of energy, human thinking was built for stamina and changing tactics. When the final scores appeared on the big screen, a shocked whisper spread through the crowd. Maya Chen ranked 3rd among all contestants. This was impossible in the lizards' minds. The testing machine must be broken. High Executor Zex Kaltor declared loudly. Prepare the second trial right away. The mammal's true weakness will show in the physical governance test. As guards led Maya from the chamber, she noticed a female draconian with bright red scales giving her a small nod. Not all the lizards were upset with her success, it seemed. The draconian empire might not be as united as Earth had thought. Maya allowed herself a small smile. The first test was over and she had surprised them all. But the next challenge would be even harder, a test designed to use the lizard's natural body advantages against her. The second test took place in a special room that could change temperature very quickly. Maya knew right away this test was made to favor the lizard's natural body advantages. The room switched between extreme heat and freezing cold. During these changes, contestants had to complete complex tasks on computer screens. The lizards, with their special bodies, simply slowed down during cold times and sped up during hot times. Their bodies did this naturally without any effort. The human will fail within the first 3 temperature changes, one official betted, loudly. Mammals cannot work when their body temperature changes even a little bit. What the draconians didn't know was that humans had a special ability they didn't expect: sweating. While lizards needed to find warm or cool places to change their body temperature, humans could cool themselves by sweating. When the room heated to 50 degrees Celsius, 122 degrees Celsius, the lizards became very alert and aggressive, making mistakes in their tasks. Maya felt uncomfortable, but kept her focus by using breathing methods learned from astronauts. Her body's natural cooling system prevented her from overheating. When the temperature dropped to nearly freezing, the lizards moved very slowly, almost stopping completely. Maya shivered but kept working efficiently while her competitors nearly shut down. Her winter training in Mongolia had prepared her for exactly this kind of cold. By the end of the test, Maya had completed 78% of her assigned tasks. Not the highest score, but good enough for fourth place among all contestants. The Draconians could not believe what they were seeing. The mammal must be using hidden technology. Search it for devices, demanded a green-crested official. Maya allowed them to scan her body completely. The results showed nothing but her natural human biology. This threw the Draconian leaders into confusion. Their basic belief about mammal weakness was being challenged by clear evidence. Something their scientific minds couldn't simply ignore. That evening, Maya received a surprise visitor, the red-scaled female lizard she had noticed earlier. "I am Santha Kavex, evolution specialist," she introduced herself. "Your performance goes against everything we know about mammal limitations." "Perhaps your knowledge is not complete," Maya suggested carefully. Santha's vertical pupils narrowed. "The final trial begins tomorrow. The test of dominance. No mammal has ever survived it. But," she paused, "I find myself hoping you might be the first." After Santha left, Maya studied information about the final trial. It was basically fighting, not to the death, but close enough. Each contestant would face harder and harder opponents until they gave up or couldn't continue. The last 5 standing would win council seats. Maya had no illusions about her chances against lizards twice her size with natural armor and claws, but Earth's planners had prepared her with one last, desperate option. The arena of dominance was a round pit with high walls. Thousands of Draconians filled the seats above, eager to see the human finally defeated. The rules were simple. Make your opponent give up or unable to continue fighting. Killing was not encouraged but was allowed. Maya watched as contestants fought with fierce strength and speed. When her name was called, the crowd went quiet. Her first opponent was a medium-ranked lizard from a desert planet. His scales were brown with hard ridges along his back. "This will be quick," he hissed as they walked in circles around each other. Maya knew she had no chance fighting directly against any lizard. Instead, she relied on the one advantage humans had developed over millions of years: endurance. As her opponent jumped at her with powerful, quick movements, Maya dodged and moved away, forcing him to use short bursts of energy. The Draconians in the crowd laughed at what they thought was fear, but minute by minute her plan became clear. Lizards evolved as ambush hunters. Quick, powerful attacks followed by rest. Humans evolved as persistence hunters who could keep moving for hours. After 15 minutes of failed attacks, her opponent's movement slowed as his muscles became tired. His cold-blooded body couldn't keep up the constant movement. When he paused to rest, Maya struck at special pressure points Earth scientists had found in Draconian bodies. The crowd went silent as the lizard fell down, unable to continue. It wasn't the victory they expected. No show of greater strength or fierceness, just the careful use of the differences between their species. Her next 3 opponents fell to similar tactics, though each fight left Maya more tired than the last. By her 5th match, she faced Gorn Vexcalar, a champion fighter from the Imperium's Central Worlds. He did not underestimate her as the others had. "I've studied your method, mammal," he growled. "Your endurance means nothing if you can't survive the first hit." What followed was the hardest 30 minutes of Maya's life. Gorn saved his energy, using careful attacks that forced Maya to use up her own strength dodging. When she could barely stand, he moved in for the final attack. That's when Maya used her final plan, the one Earth scientists had discovered by studying Draconian broadcasts. From her pocket, she took out a small spray device and sprayed its contents toward Gorn's face. The effect was immediate. The substance, human capsaicin, the chemical that makes chili peppers hot, caused an overwhelming reaction in Draconian sensory organs. Gorn collapsed, his nervous system overloaded by what humans used as a food seasoning. The arena erupted in chaos. Maya's first real council meeting was a lesson in lizard politics. The room was too hot for comfort, the seats designed for tails and back spines, and the talks moved at a pace meant for reptilian minds. Everything about the place was made to make a human counselor feel out of place. The topics were also against her, The first motion wanted to change Earth's status from protected planet to resource world, which would let the lizards mine on Earth. It was a test to see if Maya would fight for human interests. The mammal counselor may state objections, Zexkalter said with a dismissive wave, clearly expecting none. Maya stood up from her uncomfortable seat. I call for the right of complete analysis, she announced, using an old rule she had found in the Imperium's huge law books. The room went quiet. The right of complete analysis was rarely used because it required long, boring document reviews before voting could happen, something the action-loving lizards avoided whenever possible. That would delay the vote by at least 3 standard cycles, complained one counselor. Indeed, Maya agreed. Time enough for my team to prepare a full report on how this change breaks 16 separate rules in the Imperium's Planetary Rights Code. No such report existed yet, but the bluff worked. Rather than suffer the delays, the council put off the motion indefinitely. It was Maya's first political win, achieved not through direct fighting but by using the system's own rules against it. In the weeks that followed, Maya used similar tactics, working her way through the complex draconian government system with a flexibility the lizards found frustrating. Where they expected emotional outbursts or helpless giving in, they instead found a smart political player who turned their own strict following of rules into a weapon. Santhakivex, now serving as an unofficial advisor, explained the growing frustration. Your species adapts faster than ours can understand. The council expected to control you through complex procedures, but you learn and adjust more quickly than any reptilian could. This adaptability went beyond politics. Maya changed her council room to human comfortable temperatures, brought in chairs that worked for both human and reptilian bodies, and slowly got used to longer meetings by using meditation that let her work well on less sleep than the lizards needed. When the first trade deals between Earth and the Imperium were written, the reptilians discovered another unexpected human advantage: creativity. Where draconian contracts followed rigid, predictable patterns set over thousands of years, human negotiators suggested new arrangements that created benefits neither side had thought of before. In the second year of Maya's time on the council, 17 other mammal species asked to join the Imperium and get council seats. Each had been turned away before as unworthy, but Earth's success had given them hope to demand fair treatment. The old guard lizards, led by Zexkalter, strongly opposed this mammal invasion, but they faced an unexpected problem. The Imperium's own laws said that any species meeting the basic requirements must be given a chance to compete. To say no would break the legal foundation of the Imperium itself. This is your doing, Zexkalter accused Maya during a private meeting. You've encouraged these lesser species to disturb thousands of years of stable rule. I've done nothing but show that your ideas about non-reptilian species were wrong, Maya replied calmly. The problem isn't new voices being heard, but the fact that they should have been heard long ago. The competitions went forward, and to the horror of the traditionalists, 11 mammal representatives qualified for various positions throughout the Imperium's government. Their different ways of thinking, focus on working together rather than fighting for dominance, and creative problem-solving began slowly changing how the government worked. Maya found herself leading a new group, the Adaptive Caucus, made up of forward-thinking reptilians, mammals, and even representatives from bird and amphibian species who had been pushed aside within the Imperium. Together, they started advocating for leadership that valued different ways of thinking and biological perspectives. The conflict came to a head when a crisis broke out in the Cygnus sector. A fast-spreading disease was killing reptilians on 3 planets. The Imperium's traditional response would have been to close off the area and abandon it, letting natural selection take its course. Instead, the Adaptive Caucus suggested sending mixed-species medical teams, arguing that the different immune systems across different evolutionary paths might find solutions a purely reptilian approach would miss. Despite strong opposition, the proposal passed by a small margin in the Lesser Council. The gamble paid off in an amazing way. A mammalian scientist from Proxima Centauri found a treatment that stopped the disease, saving millions of reptilian lives. The traditional belief in reptilian superiority took a blow it might never recover from. As news of the success spread throughout the Imperium, Zexkalter and his followers faced a choice: adapt to the changing political landscape, or become outdated themselves. 3 years after Maya Chen first stepped onto Proxima Station, she stood before the Greater Council of the Draconian Imperium, the first non-reptilian ever to speak to this important group. Behind her stood representatives from 27 non-reptilian species, each having earned their place through hard work, rather than being born a certain way. "Distinguished counselors," Maya began, "I come to suggest the biggest change in the Imperium's history, creating an evolution advisory board with members from all biological types throughout our shared territories." The room exploded with a mix of supportive calls and angry hisses. When order returned, Maya continued, "For 10,000 years, the Imperium has believed that the reptilian path was the best way of thinking. Recent events have clearly shown this idea is wrong. Each evolutionary path, reptilian, mammalian, bird, amphibian, crystal-based, and others, offers unique views and special advantages." She pointed to her diverse colleagues. "Together, we have solved problems that none of our species could have fixed alone. The disease in Cygnus, the gravity problems in the Orion area, the talking deadlock with the insect collective, all solved through working together in ways that would have been impossible in a system with only one type of species." In the front row sat High Executor Zexcaltor, his black scales showing signs of age. To everyone's surprise, he stood to speak. "3 cycles ago, I stood on Proxima Station and called humanity a primitive species not worthy of notice," he began, his voice rough but clear. "I was wrong. Not just about humans, but about the nature of evolutionary advantage itself." A whisper of shock ran through the room. The High Executor never admitted being wrong. "I have served the Imperium for 200 cycles," he continued. "I have seen civilizations rise and fall, but never have I seen such fast positive change as that brought by Counselor Chen and her mammalian colleagues. Their presence has not weakened us, it has made us stronger, more adaptable, and better prepared for an uncertain future." He turned to face Maya directly. "The Evolution Advisory Board has my full support, and I further suggest that Counselor Chen be named its first director." The motion passed with a huge majority, marking a basic shift in how the Imperium viewed biological diversity. What had begun as one small seat for a human had indeed become a giant humiliation for lizardkind, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of defeating them, humanity had helped transform them, creating a stronger, more inclusive space, government. As Maya looked out over the assembled counselors, reptilian, mammalian, avian, and others, she thought about how far they had all come. One small seat had changed everything.